Hello and welcome to my video. This is Mark Moody and this is video 3 on the Riemann Conjecture. This is to prove my S, my 9801, that it's not just a number picked out of a hat. It's an extremely special number and it is an extension of the number 1, which is what we needed. Right here, Riemann sees that we got these 1/2, 1/3, 1/4 all going in one direction. Okay? He wants to go in the other direction as well. And he calls this part in between the complex plane. Now he knows that these are all smaller parts of 1. So how can he get the other smaller parts of 1 to go this way? So we have an entire system. That's why he invents the -1, which doesn't work at all, because that is not the opposite of 1. We'll see what the opposite of 1 is. So what we need, clearly, is just the other half of these fractions. Okay, we need two. This is 1/2. We need another 1/2. We need a 2/3. We need a 3/4 and a 4/5 to be the other half of these if you want to mirror them over there. Now, to get there, he tried to come up with all kinds of ways and complex numbers to do S. When what he really wanted to do was just extend number 1 on both sides of the plane, and that's exactly what he says. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to extend number 1 to both sides of the plane, okay? And we're going to do that because we only have two things. We have the number 1, and we have the speed of light. Now, Riemann, back in his time, didn't know about the speed of light, and he didn't have, he didn't know it was a light wave that we're building here. He just had no clue about those types of things. This is physics entering into the game. So I don't blame him, but here's what we've got. We've got 1, which is a frequency, times c squared, 90,000. That equals 81, whatever that number is, huge. Okay, a big stretched out number 1. All we've done is taken the frequency of 1, a light wave, and stretch it at the speed of light to this huge number. Now we take our fundamental frequencies from the Moody pilot wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and multiply them by our big stretched out number 1, we get an even bigger stretched out number 1 right here. This great big stretched out number 1. Now this is just one frequency stretched out. This is all the fundamental frequencies stretched out. Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter and easier. I'm gonna take it down to the fundamental Moody pilot wave of this squared equals that, and I'm just gonna take all those zeros off and use 81, and we get right there the stretched out number 1, which works fine for our calculations. We don't have to use those huge numbers. So now we got a number that we can stretch. This is number 1 stretched out. There's no argument about it. You saw the math. It is number 1 stretched out. So will it work? Well, we're going to use Euler's number. Euler got famous for coming up with this, 1/4, 1/9. He says that it diverges to pi squared divided by 6. And he got very famous for this. So fine, let's use it. Even though we clearly see it's not the right series of numbers to really lead us anywhere, but let's use it. So pi squared divided by 6 is this number. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if my huge number 1 is truly this number 1 stretched out, when I divide Euler's pi squared divided by 6 by my number 1, I should get the other side of the plane. If his leads to this on the one side, I should get the other side, and I do. So here's what we do. What we do is we take my big number stretched out number 1, divide it by Euler's pi squared divided by 6 equals this number, and I get this number. And that is the inverse of this number. So be sure you understand that 1 divided by pi squared divided by 6 is this number. And 998, instead of the 1, we're just switching them, divided by pi squared divided by 6 is the same number exactly. So we have reverse reciprocated Euler's number to the exact. And all we've done is use my stretched out version, which is exactly what should happen. Because this is our stretched out number 1, we need it to reverse all of the things on Riemann's All those um, fractions, we needed to reverse them onto the other side. And that's exactly what happens. Now, I used 9801 in my conjecture because it's the same thing. It's a shortened version of this. It does exactly the same thing. You don't have to use the huge one. So you see that my number is extremely important. Um, Although Euler's number isn't. Euler's number really doesn't have anything to do with this. Um, my number is the one that's important. And the reason is any number you divide by my extended number one will give you the reverse reciprocal of that number. So that's an amazing, amazing discovery. Way more important than Euler's little thing here. Um, so, yeah, it does prove that Euler was right, but it also proves any number would have been right because of my number, because of the special ability of the extended number one. And that's what Euler needed. So you see, this is a very special number, incredibly special. Okay. Um, and that proves that my 9801 is the real S, is the real reason that it's in there because it's a reverse reciprocal of number one. Now, what does this pilot wave and conjecture tell us about the real world? Um, it paints a very clear picture that the universe began as a light wave. Now, that might be hard to think about, but no one should be astonished to find out this to be true. It is written in the oldest text. It should be astonishing if it wasn't true. They say to you, where have you come from? Say to them, we have come from the light, from the place where the light came into being by itself and established itself and appeared in their image. Okay, that's not really confusing. It's not, it's not diluted. It's easy to understand. We came from the light. Now, if we ask, is that possible? Are we just part of a light wave? A light wave has the largest, fastest frequency in the universe. Every single person has a frequency that is unique to that person. And every single atom in your body has a unique frequency. Every part of you is made up of frequencies. And every single thing in the universe has a frequency. And all these frequencies are a lesser part of the light frequency, as we just proved through the Riemann conjecture. And these frequencies combined equal the light frequency. So it's impossible right now, having proven this, that we couldn't come from the light. This is what this conjecture proves. And this is why I hope it's not long before it's accepted, so that everyone may know the truth.